Hello! Welcome back to We Are Crafted in His Image. We are working on our June Coco and Crafts class and our second project, which is this really cute, actually kind of masculine treat box, and you have some little treats that will fit right inside there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this where I can see it. And we have just 2 things to stamp today, actually technically 3. And you can decide which of the 2 tie patterns you like. I'm going to go with the striped one since I did the other pattern one on my sample. That doesn't quite fit. Let me see. All the way to the edge. Nope, I think I'm going to grab a bigger block for that one. There we go. Now it fits. And then I'm going to pick out the "You Are to One of the World's Greatest Dads." And that, I like that sentiment because it could be given to not only your husband, but it could be given to any, like I could give this to my son. I could give it to just anyone that is kind of a fatherly figure for us. So yeah. In your kit, you have a scrap piece here, and you've got 2 circles, some twine. We're going to set all of these aside over here while we do our stamping. And I opted again not to die cut these. It's a pretty simple fussy cut, so we're going to just cut that out with scissors. I don't think we need the gray. Yes, I did use the gray actually. I'm going to use, yeah, I am going to use the gray, not the Pacific Point on this one. Let me put this away. There we go. Let's grab the gray. Actually, you could use the Pacific Point on that blue. This is actually Misty Moonlight blue. It's not Pacific Point, but I think that this ink, in fact, I'm going to do one of each just to see how it looks. So, let me, I'm going to ink this way. And I'm going to stamp one on here. Yeah, I like that. And then what I'm going to do, let me pull out a little scrap here, is I'm going to actually stamp it again, but I really only need the very top of the tie for that part. Just that little knot on the tie, because we're going to give that a little bit of dimension. So let me clean off, I'm cleaning off my stamp here so that I can then use, actually while I have the blue here, let me go ahead and stamp my sentiment in the middle. There we go. And then I can put this away. No, I can't. Yes, I can. I don't have an envelope for this one. It's not a card. Okay, so there. Let's go ahead and stamp this. There we go. And we're going to ink up our tie again. And again, this little bit. There we go. Okay, so all of our stamping is done. Let's start assembling. I need to clean off my stamp. There we go. Okay. So we need to fussy cut these. Let's get those cut out real quick. And I like that they're pretty straight lines. It's not a lot of intricate cutting for these, which is why I opted not to die cut ahead of time. Because we've tried doing the whole die cut first and then stamp second with the red rubber, and it's not the easiest thing to do. So this works out pretty easy. Give it a little cut. And there's one done. And then on this part, we just need, like I said, the little knot at the top of the tie. And if you want to do a neater job, cut it right along your ink line, which I should have done with the tie as well. Let me go ahead and cut this up, make it just look a little bit neater. There we go. Okay, now for this part here, I want to give the knot a little bit of dimension. So what I'm going to do is just put it in my hand and just kind of push. Just push down with my thumb, kind of curl that a little bit so that it's not flat. And then I'm going to glue that onto here using a mini dimensional. So let me find my dimensionals. Let's just stick that right on there, and that just kind of gives our tie a little bit of dimension, so it's not flat. There's one done. So let me do the other real quick. Again, we're just going to cut right along the line. I'll do a better job the first time around. I get really quiet when I'm cutting because I'm focused. I'm focused. I'm not sniffling quite as bad as I was in the last video. I'm actually doing it the same day that I did last week's video, but it's been a little while since I've been outside. I've been in the house for a couple of hours, so it's calmed down those sniffles, but whew. Everything is blooming outside. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love it, but my nose does not, apparently. There we go. So let's get all of our garbage out of the way. Let's go ahead and shape this one too, just like we did the other. Just push down in there, give it a little bit of shape. I don't know why I put these away. I should have kept one out. There we go. Stick it in the middle of that one. And stick this on. There we go. And we have two ties ready to go. Now let's start putting our box together. So what we want to do here, I have already cut, I've already cut it, I've already scored, but we do have some cutting we need to do, and I will have all the dimensions listed on the blog so that if you want to replicate this, you can. But what you want to do, you'll notice that there is a score line down here at the bottom, and you want to cut on these score lines. I like to cut my tabs in, you could cut straight on that line, but what I prefer to do is to cut on either side of the line on an angle going to the point, like that. And the reason being is when these flaps fold up, it'll just make sure none of the flaps end up sticking out on the sides. So yeah, I just cut this up, cut this one up. Now on this one here where there is a small little panel, you're going to actually cut that off. So there you go. That's what you're going to be left with when you're finished, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to cut in a little bit here. I'm trying to have the white behind so you can see what I'm doing. Cut in on either side of these, and I'm going just to that score line. Kind of making a little triangle, a really skinny triangle. There we go. And then on the last one, cut to there, and then cut that off. Okay, so that is ready to go. Before we go do any scoring, let's go ahead and glue on our pattern paper. I liked the pinstripes. There are some stripes here that you could use, but I thought it kind of made it harder to see the tie. So I am opting for the more subdued, the gray ones on the front, okay? So let me go ahead, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put adhesive on all of these. There should be 4 for each box. So let me get my adhesive. Put some down both sides. I'm gonna set that one over here. Maybe if it'll let go of my finger. And I may have to pause and replace my Stampin' Seal in a minute. Maybe I'll get through this without having to. Stay, stay, let go of my finger. There we go. Here, I will do 4, and then I'll do the other 4. That way, less chance of me sticking them to something they're not supposed to get stuck to. There we go. Got some adhesive on there. Alright, while it's stuck to my finger, let me pull this panel out. And you want this near the bottom where the flaps are. So I'm trying to eyeball these 3 sides that I have an even border, and then just lay that down like that. Okay, so let me do the second one. Third one. And fourth one. Okay, now I need to do something really quick to eyeball. I'm going to go ahead and fold on all of my score lines, including the flaps on the bottom. Whoops. Okay, and then I need to look and see. This is our back panel, so this is the front panel right here. Okay, so from the edge that I put your strip on, you go over to this one here, and we're going to glue our tie right there. So let me go ahead. I'm actually going to use liquid glue, I think. And can you see how I just took my finger and just ran it on there, and it kind of gave it a little bit of a fold, so it's not completely flat. See that? And then you can go this direction and lift the tie up that way a little bit. So what I'm going to do is actually just put some glue on the areas that I think are going to touch the background. Definitely on the knot. You definitely want some on the knot. Okay, and I'm going to flip this over. And again, what this is going to do is just give you some dimension. It's not going to be a flat project. Okay. There we go. Let that set for a minute. And then our To the World's Greatest Dad is going to go on top of that. On either side of the tie. So actually what I think I'm going to do is take and stick a dimensional here and a dimensional here. Peel off the backing, and then put this on top. Whoops. Might be easier if I hold it this way so I can get it straight. Stick it to it. There we go. You see how my tie now has a little bit. This one here I did very flat. I glued it straight down. But this one I thought I wanted to try and pop it up a little bit. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and adhere. Now, the easiest way that I find to do adhering is to fold this side over like this, or usually I fold it all the way over like that. Peel this off. Now, you notice when I already put some tear and tape on here. Anytime you're doing a 3-dimensional item, you always want to make sure your adhesive is as close to this score line as possible. If I had put the adhesive all the way on this side of this flap, then when you go to glue it together, you have a chance of this separating and pulling apart. So you always want to make sure you have it right up next to that score line. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is peel this off, and then you just lay this on top while it's flat. You don't have to try and do it as a box. Does that make sense? Like, I don't have to try and line it up like this. And there you go. That is finished. That part's done. Okay. And then I like to fold in, this is the front, I like to fold in the sides, the back, and then the front. And that way your front section of your box doesn't end up with a seam on it. It's just nice and smooth. It just makes it a little bit neater. And I'm going to go ahead and just put some adhesive on that and close that up. Okay, so now real quick, let me get my other box put together super quick before we close them up completely. All right, so adhesive on our strips. And this paper is retiring this month. The stamp set is not, I believe, but the paper is. And it's such a cool paper set. I love it. All the different masculine fabric patterns is really nice. Okay, you get out of my way. Don't stick to me. Thank you. All right, bottom and stick. Bottom, stick. One more, and the last one. Now, and again, the reason I picked this as my front panel is so that this seam is in the back of the box. Okay, so that's the reason I kind of had to fold it to check and see. But this is the panel you want to put your tie on. So I'm going to stick that on there. And put a little bit of my glue, a little bit up on the tie. Try to pick that up. Stick that down. All right, couple of dimensionals on either side of the tie. Whoops, make sure the tie is straight. One, two. And I do like to do this while the box is flat. It just makes it easier to line everything up and to be able to push down on your glue and on your adhesive to make sure that it's well adhered, which is a little harder to do once your box is put together. However, what I should have done was the scoring before I did that, because that would have been easier to do without worrying about smashing my tie. There we go. Okay, so same thing I did last time. I'm going to peel off the backing, keeping this flat, and just close the flap over on it. Hold it that way and make sure it's nice and tight down. And two sides, back, front. Put some adhesive. There we go. I'll close that up. All right. Now to close this, you have a piece of twine in your kit, so go ahead and take it and cut it in half. Go ahead and stick your chocolates down in. It actually helps because it gives it a little bit of weight and keeps it from wobbling on you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply push in on the sides of my box. Smash my chocolate down in there, make sure it's down. Just push in on the sides, see how it's making that like little shape, and then pinch right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissor and I'm just going to like a notch, maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that. And you don't have to do this step, but I find that it keeps the string from sliding off the top. Okay, and then this is how I did the last one. I took my string, centered it in the front. Oops, helps if I... Okay, push that through the little notch that we just cut. All right, now crisscross in the back and bring them back towards the front, and again, put it through that notch. And at this point, you actually don't even have to tie. That's like locked in place. It's not going anywhere. But go ahead and tie just like a little knot. This is a masculine thing, so we don't need to do a bow. Yay! Hallelujah! No bow necessary. Just gonna tie it down and then trim your twine the way you want it. I think I'll just cut it like that. And I didn't even tie the knot, like, I don't know if you can see it in there, like my knot is not even tied tight. It's really, really loose because there's nothing holding that. These notches are holding that string in place. This is just for looks. And that way it'll make it easier for them to undo it. They don't have to actually cut it. So there's that. So let me do the next one. Same thing. Push in on the side. Just give it a good push. Okay. And then I'm going to kind of push this one out. Make sure that stays out on the side there. I think it's easier to notch if I'm... Sorry, my paper is going over to one side. There we go. If I hold it with my left hand and cut with my right, that makes it easier like that. There we go. So again, in the center, take it from the front to the back, crisscross it, bring it from back to front. Maybe it doesn't want to go through there. Come on, come on. There we go. Oh, it was through. I was pulling and it was already through there. And then just tie you a very, very loose little knot. Maybe. Easier said than done, apparently. There we go. See? I'm not pulling that tight at all. Then cut off your ends. And your project is finished. That's it. We're done. So there you go. A cute little treat to give to somebody special. Next week we will be back with this card, and I'm going to show you a really cool trick on how we make this collar. It again does not use any of our dies. This will use the die. I have that pre-cut for you. But yeah, we're going to make this little, turn a rectangle into a shirt with just 2 cuts. Super quick and easy. So we're going to do that next week. And until then, God's love and blessings to you. Bye.